jump to the first topic. So let's discuss the introduction of the chapter. This chapter consists of detailed account of concept of utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, budget line, budget constraint, monotonic preference, indifference curve, consumers equilibrium in cardinal, that is signal and several commodities, and ordinal, that is indifference curve approach. So guys, in this chapter we are going to cover all these topics, and will be having each and every topic in brief description, so don't worry about it. So the first topic of this chapter is about the utility. Utility is the power or capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. Alternatively, utility of a commodity means the amount of satisfaction that a person gets from consumption of a good or service. As you can see in the chart, there are two types of utilities, that is cardinal utility approach and ordinal utility approach. So in the upcoming slide we are going to discuss about both the types in detail. So let's discuss the first type, that is the cardinal utility approach. Marginal utility approach or Marshall utility analysis. It states that the satisfaction of consumer derives by consuming goods and services can be measured with a number. Cardinal utility is measured in terms of utils, the unit on a scale of utility of satisfaction. According to the cardinal utility, the goods and services that are able to derive a higher level of satisfaction to consumer will be assigned higher utils, and goods that result in a lower level of satisfaction will be assigned lower utils. Cardinal utility is a quantitative method that is used to measure consumption satisfaction. So this is all about cardinal utility approach. Now the next one is about the ordinal utility approach, that is the indifference curve analysis or J.R. Hicks analysis. It states that the satisfaction of the consumer derives from the consumption of goods and services cannot be measured in numbers. Rather, ordinal utility uses a ranking system in which a rank is provided to the satisfaction that is derived from consumption. According to ordinal utility, the goods and services that offer a customer a higher level of satisfaction will be assigned higher ranks, and the goods and services that offer a lower level of satisfaction will be assigned a lower ranks. Ordinal utility is a quantitative method that is used to measure consumption satisfaction. Now after discussing the two types, the next topic is related to the total utility and marginal utility definition. First, total utility. It is the total satisfaction derived from the consumption of a given quantity of a commodity at a given time period. In other words, it is the sum total of marginal utility, whereas marginal utility is the change in total utility resulting from the consumption of an additional unit of commodity. In other words, it is the utility derived from each additional unit. So this is all about marginal utility. Now in the next slide, let's talk about the relationship between marginal utility and total utility. When MU decreases, total utility increases at a diminishing rate, as shown in the graph till consumption level OK. Second, when MU is 0, TU is constant and maximum at P, and when MU is negative, TU start diminishing. As you can see in the diagram I have inserted, it is clearly visible that at P, TU is maximum, and at MU 0, unit consumed. But guys, make sure while you are making diagrams, anything related to it, do mention x and y axis, utility, what is units consumed, everything. Mark each and every point, because if you don't mark, you will definitely won't get marks, as marks get deducted if diagrams are not labeled correctly. Now after the relationship between MU and TU, the next one is the law of diminishing marginal utility. As consumer consumes more and more units of commodity, the marginal utility derived from each successive unit goes on declining. This is the basis of law of demand. Now as you can see in the diagram, it shows that MU curve is downward sloping because of the fact that consuming of successive unit gives less satisfaction. As you can see in the table guys, units already 1 to 7 given hai. Total utility is 10, 18, 24, 28, 30, 30, 28. Marginal utility जब पहले खाया तो हमें कितने यूटिलिटी हमें satisfaction मिली 10, then 18, then we get 24, then again we get 28. फिफ्थ और सिक्स्थ यूनिट में हमें 30 मिली और उसके बाद कम होने लग गई, इसलिए जो डायग्राम है वो डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग होता है गाइस. नाउ आफ्टर दैट The next topic is about the law of equitable marginal utility. It states that when a consumer spends his income on different commodity, he will attain equilibrium or maximize his satisfaction at that point where ratio between marginal utility and price of different commodities are equal, and which is in return is equal to the marginal utility of money. Now after that, the next topic is about some of the definition. The first one is the budget set. It is a quantitative combination of those bundles which a consumer can purchase from his given income at a prevailing market prices. Next, consumer budget. It states that real purchasing power of the consumer from which he can purchase the certain quantitative bundles of goods at a given price. Third, budget line. A graphical representation of all those bundles which cost the amount just equal to the consumer's money income give us the budget line. Next, monotonic preferences. Consumers' preferences are called monotonic when between only two bundles, one bundle has more of one good and no less of other good, as it offers him a higher level of satisfaction. So after discussing these four definitions, the next topic is related to the marginal rate of substitution, MRS. It is a rate at which a consumer is willing to substitute good Y over good X, one good to obtain one more unit of other good. Generally, it is a slope of indifference curve. So the formula of MRS is the loss of good Y upon gain of good X, or change in Y upon change in X. Now the next topic is about indifference curve. Indifference curve is a curve showing different combination of goods, two goods, each combination offering the same level of satisfaction to the consumer. Now let's discuss the characteristics of indifference curve. First, indifference curve are negatively sloped, that is sloped downwards from left to right. Second, indifference curve are convex to the point of origin. It is due to diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Third, indifference curve never touch or intersect each other. 2 points of indifference curve cannot give equal level of satisfaction. And last, fourth, higher indifference curve represents higher level of satisfaction. Now the next topic is about quantity demanded. It is that quantity which a consumer is able and is willing to buy at a particular price and in a given period of time. The determinants of demand are price of good, income of consumer, taste and preferences of consumer, change in price of related goods, and future expectation to change in price. Guys, if a question is asked in 5 marks then about quantity demanded, then you have to describe the determinants of demand, and you have also described these sub points in detail, so do refer to any other reference book. Now the next topic is about change of demand. As you can see, change in quantity demanded or movement along the demand curve. What are the causes? Expansion or extension of demand. Downward movement along with the demand curve, अगर expansion होगी and इसका cause होता है decrease in price. And if there is contraction of demand, then upward movement along the demand curve, as इसका reason होगा increase in price. Guys, if asked, you have to just explain this in this way only. You have to first write expansion or extension of demand, and then you have to write the what exactly the curve will do, represents, what are the changes, then what are the causes, and in the end draw the diagram and make sure to label it correctly. Now the next one is about the change in demand or shift in demand. Similarly, when there is increase in demand or decrease in demand, when increase in demand, it will lead to rightward shift in the demand curve, and it is because of the formation of new demand curve, as it will lead to, whereas when there is decrease in demand, there will be leftward shift in the demand curve, which leads to formation of new demand curve. Guys, price always remains constant when there is change or shift in demand curve. मेक श्योर यू रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट कि प्राइस हमेशा कांस्टेंट होता है, प्राइस कभी भी चेंज नहीं होता है. ओनली आउटसाइड फैक्टर्स होते हैं जो अफेक्ट करते हैं चेंज इन दी शेप ऑफ डिमांड कर्व. नाउ आफ्टर दैट लेट्स डिस्कस सम ऑफ द definitions. First, market demand. It is the total quantity of a commodity demanded in the market by all consumers at different prices at a point of time. Second, demand function. It is a functional relationship between the demand for a commodity and factors affecting demand. Third, law of demand. The law states that When all other things remain constant, then there is inverse relationship between price of the commodity and quantity demanded of it. That is, higher the price, lower the demand, and lower the price, higher the demand. Next, change in demand. When demand changes due to change in any one of its determinants other than the price. Next, change in quantity demanded. When demand changes due to change in its own price, keeping all other factors constant. After the definition, the next topic is about the demand curve and demand schedule. The tabular representation of price and quantity demanded is called the demand schedule, and a demand curve is a graphical representation of the demand schedule. So the slope of demand curve का formula है change in price upon change in quantity demanded. Guys, you can relate to the diagram that I have posted in this picture in the slides, as it is very clearly and very explainable in itself, that I don't need to do. Make sure that you label the diagram carefully, that's all. Now after that, let's discuss the price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is a measurement of change in quantity demanded in response to change in the price of the commodity. So now let's discuss the factor influencing price elasticity of demand. First, nature of commodity. Second, availability of substitute goods. Third, income level of the consumer. Fourth, price level of the commodity. Fifth, time period. Sixth, different use of commodity. Seventh, behavior of the consumer. And eighth, postponement of the consumption. So these are the factors mentioned in your NCERT textbook related to the factors influencing price elasticity of demand. So guys, here finally your chapter ends. If you have any doubt related to the topic that I have covered in this video, do mention in the comment section. I am definitely going to reply it. And now after that, it's time for your reward question. Today's question is, explain the relationship between marginal utility and total utility. Guys, all you have to do is to just comment on your answer, and the perfect answer will be rewarded by us. So don't waste your time guys, comment your answer right now. I will be back with my another video. Till then, thank you everyone.